Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Clarified Moments, the podcast. So glad you guys can join us today. Well, we hope to bring something I've coined, or something I like to call clear conscious thought, which is the ability to make clear, sober, and purposeful decisions through the power of clarity and purpose. So, what we're going to talk about today is, what we're going to touch on today is biases. Are they good or bad? So what is a bias? Before I give you a abbreviated definition, let me touch on what biases are capable of. So first of all, we all have these hidden unconscious biases that lead to these perspectives that influence our attitudes, our behaviors, and basically influence our world. These biases are and can be influenced by certain experiences in our life, by trauma, by successes, by failures. But they also can be taught to us through influence, which is what we're going to try to focus on today in this video. So when it comes to these unconscious biases, the mass media is one of the major influences when it comes to this. Influencing our unconscious biases, teaching us certain things, pushing us in certain directions. This can be productive or counterproductive, depending on what the agenda is. We know that. So usually how this works is there's a post that either agrees with or supports our belief system or aligns with these unconscious biases that you and I have. So we post, repost, and or share said post. But what if this bias is counterproductive for my well-being or the well-being of humanity? What if it reinforces disruptive, counterproductive perspectives? What am I doing if I reinforce these biases? Am I helping matters or am I hurting matters? The answer to this question can be subjective, but it doesn't have to be. So there are or have been biases that have been unsuccessful, counterproductive for decades in moving the advancement of the human race forward and creating something I've coined as zombie-like thought. This sort of thinking limits clear conscious thought through the ability to make clear, sober decisions based off of clarity and purpose. It limits this zombie-like thought, as the media continues to play intricate parts in creating these biases that influence our perception. People don't even have a chance to pursue and make constructive, productive decisions before these destructive, unproductive, or counterproductive biases kick in. So what are these biases capable of? Biases that influence perception can lead to racism. Biases that influence perception can lead to discrimination. Biases that influence perception can lead to misinterpretations. Biases that influence perception can lead to confusion. Biases that influence perception can lead to bigotry. Biases that influence perception can lead to undermining the human soul to reach its full potential. These biases, they have the ability to create success or failure depending on the perception. It can lead to disrespect. It can lead to civil disorder. It can lead to a whole litany of things that we see it playing out right now in real time. It even led recently to a guy losing his job where there was someone who misinterpreted this encounter, which influenced their bias. They filed a bigotry complaint against this guy, and his employer later, which was later found out wasn't true, and then his employer fired him. These knee-jerk reactions in today's society, all because of biases that influence perception that lead to this. If biases only include self-perspective and is unchecked and is willing to exclude God-centered perspectives, then it has the ability to be destructive. We have to remember that warped or flawed biases eliminates the assigned value of every human being by way of the origins of our creation. The reality is that we are all flawed beings with core design biases that have to be constantly shaped and held in check to prevent them from getting out of hand, prevent them from being misused and abused. The very thing that is being overlooked, self-management, unshaped, misused, and abused biases within the human heart undermine the God-given example of his plan for diversity within humanity. To say there is value in diversity it's an understatement, right? It's these misused and abused and even maliciously applied, misguided biases that's not overstated enough. What are we doing? And we are all guilty until we get back, or in most instances, even start building value beyond skin color by getting back to the principles of our core design while shaping these biases. We won't even come close to what Dr. Martin Luther King was talking about when he said, "Judge me by the content of my heart or character versus the color of my skin." We will continue, ladies and gentlemen, to undermine the purpose of humanity, to bring value and add value. That's what we're here for. The only way we can effectively do this is through the power of changing our philosophy on purpose. Starting with the purpose of humanity. That's where it starts. Shaping and influencing our biases by purposely seeing through a different lens. I say it all the time. It's time to see through a different lens. We got to build on the purpose of the human race versus one particular race. It's the starting point. So misinterpretation, misuse, or worse yet, abused biases that support dysfunction, bigotry, racism, mischaracterization, character assassination, demonizing, again, it's playing out in real time. If we're honest with ourselves, truly being honest with ourselves, we're contributing to it. Ask yourself this: do I have biases that undermine bringing solutions versus adding or doubling down on the problem? Simply put, listen, click like and share, subscribe for more valuable concerning this very important message. Message me below for additional training and info concerning this issue, how to manage your unconscious biases to bring about solutions versus being a part of the problem. Thank you guys again for listening, and take care.